Hey everyone, welcome back to the CoCo Lounge. In today's segment of Coffee with CoCo, we have a truly inspiring guest, Mercy Dube. She's the founder of Magical Sense and Akmyra Ventures. Mercy isn't just building businesses, she's creating spaces for self care, wellness, and community healing. Now, her journey hasn't been easy, from surviving gun violence to navigating the highs and lows of entrepreneurship. She's turned every setback into purpose. Welcome, Mercy. We're so excited to have you today. I really want to thank you for being here and sharing your time with us today. It really means a lot.
Um, Hi, Rukeya. Thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate this opportunity.
You are most welcome. So let's start at the beginning, okay? Every business has a story, and yours is truly interesting. So let's tell our audience who you are, what you do, and a bit about your background so we can get to know you better.
Okay, so my name is Mercy Dube. Um, I'm the founder of Elimthende Ventures. And under the Elimthende Ventures, we have got two brands, which is Magical Sense, and Magical Sense is all best perfumes, and Akmyra, which is the wellness business, the wellness side of it. And I think I've got a story like any other young person who grew up in a marginalized community, disadvantaged. So growing up, I never had access to any of the wellness, even though I wanted to be part of a wellness community, as much as it was not a trend in the 90s when I was growing up. But when people tell you that you are fat, and they're thinking, oh, okay, maybe I need to lose weight, but you don't have access to that kind of support. And also lacking of basic toiletries, basic needs. It was a luxury to get that. If you have your soap and your lotion, you're good to go. So I told myself that when I grow up, one thing that I'll never lack is toiletry. And yeah, and if I'm not using it, it's not because I don't have it. I'm not using it because I chose not to, not because I'm lacking. So from that, have always wanted to start selling perfumes, making something that is more accessible to people like me who could not afford, like, your brand name. So I fell in love with oil-based perfumes because I started trying them out, different scents, and yeah, I'm like, okay, why not? Let's do this.
Oh, that's so amazing, Mercy. I mean, it's really inspiring to see like how your journey and your vision shaped these ventures. And it's really fascinating to see how early passions really can shape a whole career. Hey, so now
Yeah.
you face some intense challenges, including surviving gun violence. How have these experiences shaped you personally and as an entrepreneur?
Um, I would say it has been hard emotionally and physically because these challenges happened when you least expect them. You don't wish them to anybody else. And when you are doing business and you just started and you are the only person, like every operations, everything you are doing alone. The moment you fall, then also everything falls flat. So I had to be using crutches. I couldn't use my arm after I got shot. Then I had nerve damage. My right arm became numb, and I'm right-handed. I use my right hand to do everything, basically everything. So everything had to be on hold. And I had my son taking care of me, helping me most of the
Mm.
basic things. And it was hard because my business fell flat. There was nobody to run it. But because of the tools that I have, um, I'm a 200-hour yoga teacher. So it helped me to maintain balance very quickly because I've been active in my life. So that helped me also to regulate myself. There are times that I have to cry, beat
Mm.
myself up, but then because I had the tools, I'll just sit in stillness. Sometimes I just meditate, and it gave me strength. And to take it one day at a time, minute by minute, allow myself to be in the moment, notice the pain, acknowledge it, but not dwell too much into it. And also living in an area, like in Cape Town, um, we live in gang infested areas. Uh, anything is possible as well. So you kind of need to navigate, where are you doing your business with, whom are you doing your business with, because you don't know what's just behind you. So yeah.
Mm. Mercy, your strength and resilience is incredible, yeah. I mean, it really shows how you can turn challenges into purpose, right? And I mean, that's a wonderful segue now into your personal journey, right? It naturally leads us into resilience because recovering from trauma, it isn't easy. And it often takes both inner strength and support, right? Which is what you just mentioned. So how did you find the strength to keep going? Like, I mean, both personally and professionally.
Okay, and I think we never heal from trauma. We just learn to manage our triggers. Because you get re-traumatized over and over again when you see things that remind you of that particular traumatic event. So I do have support structure in terms
Mm.
of friends and family. And I also know that I can access therapy, as in like talk therapy, from different organizations. And as well as if I feel like, oh, okay, um, I need medication. Actually, I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety in 2013, a year after my child was born. Then I took medication for 7 years.
Mm.
So I then stopped when I started practicing yoga and without the doctor's consent, but I do not advise people to do that. It felt right for me at that very moment. Like I was saying, I have support structure from friends and family. I'm also aware that when it becomes physical, if I'm stressed, I can notice when I'm becoming stressed. I know the symptoms, and I can go to the clinic or see a healthcare provider. They can prescribe something if I need anything to help me going through that phase. And also, I'm a holistic practitioner, so other people might not resonate with it, but an energy healer. So you heal your own body, before you go and see a doctor. It also starts in the mind. How do you feel? What are you telling yourself? Are you gonna be okay? And your willpower of survive also helps you, even when you get medication. So when I get negative, I'm a human being. Sometimes you just feel like, that isn't working. I don't want to do this. But then I remind myself, what is my purpose? What is it that I want? And that keeps me going. I think also just having my son with me is my pillar of strength. Like, I love him, and it keeps me going. I think just to go back, when I got shot whilst I was in the hospital, my prayer was like, not now. My child need me. Not now. My children need me. And that kept me fighting. So yeah.
Wow. That's such an important reminder. Like resilience, it isn't just about pushing through, it's about learning to heal as you move forward. And your story is so amazing, Mercy. Um, Now, I can definitely relate to the next question that I'm going to ask you because being a business owner or an entrepreneur can be a really lonely journey at times, right? And even when we think things are going well. So it often feels like you're carrying the weight alone. And every entrepreneur faces moments when it feels almost impossible to keep going, right? Now, what were some of the toughest moments in keeping your business alive? And how did you push through?
So I think when I started doing my perfume business, I started small due to limited funds. And I was just selling to my friends and families. Then I got a seed fund. After I got that seed fund, I got wrong products. In the sense, I don't know what happened to that batch of raw material. Whether it was because they were in the car for too long, they were exposed to the sun. I don't know. But when the material arrived, the raw material arrived, it was a mess. It was something that I could not sell. So basically, that stock went down the drain and I lost that money. And I was left basically with nothing. I had to keep pushing, selling what I have, restock, but it was not enough. I felt like giving up. You know, when you did not have the funds and you are celebrating that, okay, now I'm going to scale, then everything is a mess because you don't know. And the supplier is not willing to be accountable because there was a middleman in between. So you don't know where things got messed up. But somehow I kept on going. Then I went for an incubator program at WPDI. I attended that program for about 6 months. And I was one of the winners that won the L'Oreal Livelihood support, where I also got some funding towards towards my business. And I didn't expect to win on that day. Like I felt so down. I didn't even want to go when they were announcing the winners. And I was actually shocked when they called my name. So it helped me to restart my business. But again, as I mentioned earlier, when I got shot last year, that was around October, on the 20th of October. Then again, there was nobody. But because of friends and family, I had one friend, Samantha, who had been very, very supportive. So with some of my orders that I needed to deliver, she was there to assist me and help me. So that kept me at least afloat, not as much as I wanted, but it kept me afloat. And I think it's an emphasis on having a team, the importance of having a team. Even if maybe you cannot pay them um, huge salaries. I think when you're a startup and when you treat people with respect and negotiate, well, they'll be willing to assist you. Because when you're not there to do the things, or when you face other challenges that hinders you from performing your duties, you know that there is somebody to step in. So yeah, and I think that's when also I was starting to weave awareness in there because I completed my yoga training in April last year. So I was starting to combine the two to see, oh, okay, where do these two link? Can I do together? What can I try? So it was really interesting. And I think for me, it was more of the lessons, what came out of those lessons, and also telling myself, it's okay to fail. It's good to fail because when you rise stronger and with lessons. It doesn't matter how many. There are people who have started businesses and they'll tell you that I tried my business 5 times, 6 times. I had to change locations in order for my business to be a success. So I think it's the lesson, accepting the lessons that comes with those challenges.
Wow, it's so inspiring to hear how you navigated these challenges, hey? And speaking about lessons, let me ask you this. Are there lessons from your setbacks that you wish you knew earlier?
Definitely. I think also it goes also to like the importance also of, I think, studying how other people have been doing business. because I think there are lessons that you can learn on your own. Sometimes you don't need to fall and fail because you can learn from somebody else. So also
Absolutely.
another thing is the passion that we start businesses because of the passion that we have. But do we have enough training to run the business? And with some programs that you see out there, there isn't really enough substance in the training on how to navigate, business challenges and what skills you have, what skills are going to complement that type of business mentorship for your specific kind of business. Because I might be having an idea, but I'm not good in marketing. I don't have money to pay somebody to do marketing. So when we attend these programs, how then do I find somebody that is going to do marketing and close the deal? Because sales and marketing is a gift to close a deal, to sell one item. So how do we then collaborate? Maybe there's something that I can barter trade with a person that can do. How do we navigate those? So I think it's some of the things that are lacking in entrepreneurship programs, because we spend 6 weeks, 4 weeks, and you're done. Then after that, there is nothing more. You go back to square one. You're on your own. So yeah.
Oh man, that's such great insight, because if only we could know these things sooner. But hindsight is always 2020 vision. And I love that you just touched on the lack of mentorship after the course. That's something that we strive to do at CoCo Africa Hubs. Like once you go through the course, there's this mentorship and there is assistance at the end of the day if you need something additional over and above what you've learned. And that is very important to have a community, which is why we're building this community so that we can have that mentorship um, aspect to it. Now,
That's
let's
amazing.
yeah, yeah, it's such an exciting journey for me, I promise. One day, I think you and I can have an interview where you'll be asking me questions.
I can't wait.
So what I want to go into now is holistic wellness and self-care, because that is also a big part or at least a big part or aspect of your business. So from resilience to wellness, right? Your approach it blends business with self care, which is really great. Which is one of the things I really admire about your business. Now, because running a business can be stressful, self care can change the game, right? Now you combine perfumes with yoga and wellness practices. So how do you see self care and entrepreneurship intersecting?
So with entrepreneurship, running your own business like you mentioned, comes a lot of stress. You need to be consistent. You sometimes you have sleepless nights because you need to do a research. Like a lot of us are still looking for money. We need funding. So when this funder comes, you're trying to make things align to what that funder is looking for. You don't sleep. You need to do. I mentioned you need to make tough decisions. You need to do problem solving. Then you have people that do not have team, where it's an all-rounder in the business. So that drains you emotionally. It affects your body. It also affects how you're gonna perform your duties, because when you're tired, you can't think. Just like I remember back in the days when we'd come from school and you get home and you say, I'm tired, and our parents would be like, you are just sitting at school doing nothing. How can you be tired? And I later realized that it's not because the body is tired, but it's because the brain is tired from
Yeah.
listening and thinking. So when your brain is tired and your body is tired, then you know, overall you cannot perform your duty. And there's also a lot of uncertainty in running a business. You don't know, you're selling a product, you're not so sure if you're going to make sales. And if you are renting a space or having operations that need you to fix the operations, where you need to consistently take out money, when you do not make money, it affects everything. So now self-care intersects where, talking about emotional resilience, how to calm your body physically, to exercises. How then do you exercise help you to be regulated, to be mindful, to be calm, also to build your confidence and present. When you feel good, you're confident. But if not, no matter how much you know your business, you can know your business at the back of your palm, but somebody can ask you and you can fumble because you are tired, you are not regulated. There is a lot of things that is happening um, in your mind. So that's where the wellness link, and also sometimes like with yoga, I'll spoke more on yoga because that's what I teach. Sometimes you don't need to be doing all the poses, the asanas, and it allows you. We hold a space for you. You come as you are. It meets you where you are. So you can go on your mat, lie on your mat for the whole lesson. That's okay. That's where you are at today. You just needed to listen to yourself, give yourself, pat yourself on the back, give yourself some love, give yourself, afford yourself grace and be grateful. So yeah.
Yeah. I do agree with you. It's so true. If you like taking care of yourself, it really allows you to be more creative, more focused, and like effective in your work. And sometimes it's that small practices that make the big difference. Just love yourself. Just be calm. Just be in the moment. It's
Yeah.
amazing. So like can you share a moment like when holistic wellness directly impacted your business or like your creativity?
Yeah, because right now I am working on herbal, more like herbal perfumes. I'm playing around at the moment. I've asked friends to test my creativity, where I'm using a lot of more of your essential oils rather than synthetic oils in manufacturing. And it led me also to start studying herbalism. So I'm a herbalism student at the moment because I wanna focus on using herbs in fragrance, play around, see how that works, what would how would that look like, and it will be more natural because also, there are people with other certain skin conditions um, that can not use certain ingredients, like people with not asthma, people with sinuses.
Like
It's
eczema?
difficult for them to, yes, it's difficult for them to have a perfume that is gonna, you know, that is not gonna affect them in a way. So working with something that is subtle, but it will still make you confident, something that is more natural. Yeah, so I think that's where I'm at with my wellness because as much I love both. I think sometimes I get stuck in between where should I put more of my energy because I love perfumes.
Mm.
I love wellness. I know I've experienced it. I know what it can do to a person. And it's just so painful and sad that in our communities, we talk about it, but there isn't much, like, your black colored communities, there isn't much that is happening in there because there's no funding that goes towards mental health, towards wellness, but it is a need. And some of this violence that we see, not that I'm not justifying the violence that we see, but there is a root cause of where is it coming from? How then does it manifest? Because it manifests mental health and lack of support manifest in so many different ways. So yeah, I think that's how it's coming up in my business. And And the way that I just talk to people is as well, you know, I notice when I'm getting angry, not that I'm always in control, but I can
Mm-hmm.
notice my anger and it's just an example. I can pinpoint where it's coming from
Mm.
and how then do I do it with it and how do I react in this moment. I'm aware of my actions. So tomorrow when somebody says it's not that it was in the spare of my mind, I'm aware that this is what I wanted to do, this is what I want to, and I did it. Yeah.
Oh, I love this. You've touched on so many things. So, firstly, I'm excited about this new product line. I'm going to keep my eyes peeled to see what comes from this. And secondly, it takes a lot of self-awareness, what you're saying. You have to understand yourself intrinsically and put measures in place to counter whatever comes up, right? And I think what you're saying, it really shows how like wellness isn't separate from business, right? It's actually a part of it.
It is indeed part of it because, you know, we read stories about professionals who have become drug addicts because there is no support. We hear about psychologists, they are helping people to overcome their own demons, yet they are fighting their own demons that they cannot overcome and they commit suicide. And we start questioning and say, but this person is a psychiatrist, this person is a psychologist. How could they be? Because as much as they are in that profession helping other people, they also need other people who understand to help them. So in whatever level, whatever profession or job, from general worker, somebody that is unemployed, to top rank CEOs, wellness is very, very important. If only we can realize it's no longer a trend. I think it started, you know, when yoga came, it started as a trend, but wellness is no longer a trend, it's a lifestyle now. So people need to have tools to be able to take care of themselves better.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many things that we have in common with our businesses. And like just like Coco Africa Hub, I know that empowering others is at the heart of what you do, Mercy. So how do you encourage your clients and the community to prioritize mental and emotional health?
I think at the moment it's normalizing the conversation because there is a lot of, as much as we are talking about it, everybody's aware. I think after COVID, there was a lot of awareness on mental health and wellness. Um, but there is still a stigma surrounding mental health. It's like a taboo. It's
Mm.
something that you don't openly talk about. I have been called crazy for admitting that I've got depression and I've got anxiety. And I know how the anxiety manifests. So I'm open about it that, okay, if you're my friend or whoever relationship that you have, and I'm comfortable, I'll be like, you know what? If things unfold in this way, it's gonna make me anxious and I'm gonna panic. Please try to. But if you open up to somebody that doesn't understand or that doesn't acknowledge, they can turn tables on you. So I've been called mad, crazy. Um, Not that it bothered me because I don't care. I openly talk about it because I want other people to learn. I want other people to start prioritizing how they feel that is normal. Even with men, you know, like in our African culture, I'll talk more about African culture because that's where I'm from. You have schizophrenia and it's undiagnosed.
Mm.
Yes, we do understand that there are other things that traditional, maybe that you still need to do on a traditional level, but there are other things that need a doctor to diagnose. So we hide these things. We cannot talk about these things. And then you find that person's health deteriorates because there is no help. Practically, that person just needed to have maybe medication, then they are okay. So normalizing talking about it, it is very important. Also meeting people where they are.
Mm.
It's not every time where people are ready to go into talk therapy. I've done talk therapy for a very long time. And I got to a point where sometimes it was no longer working for me because I got too familiar with what's going to happen in the session. So I started trying other modalities. So you meet people where they are. If they are ready to talk, they will talk. If they are not ready, let them be.
Mm-hmm.
Don't push people and impose what I believe should be happening. And what worked for me might not work for another person, but I can say, when I first did these challenges, 1, 2, 3, these are the steps that I can take. It's up to them to choose, but always making sure that, okay, you are available for them. And I also mentioned like providing practical tools, breathing, the power of senses. When you find yourself, you're getting worked up, oh, okay, what do I smell? What do I see? What do I taste? And your countdown. Then by the time that, oh, okay, this is what I'm smelling, you have regulated a bit and you can think clearly, and also offer a non-judgmental spirit. Because as human beings, it's human nature. We tend to judge a lot, you know. So sometimes you just need to be in here, no advice, no judgment, no hierarchy. I think that's why I love support groups a lot, because in support groups, there's no hierarchy. We are here to listen to each other. We are all equal. So I think those are the things that I feel that can yeah.
It's a really wonderful approach. I've actually made a mental note. It's normalize the conversation, meet people where they are. And the third one is just drop the judgment. I mean, you're really showing that wellness is practical and accessible. And that really resonates. It's so fantastic. Okay, so I want to go a bit deeper into your business challenges and your growth, right? Now, running ventures is never without any hurdles, as we've discovered. So let's talk about the realities of business growth and how you've navigated them, right? Now, access to resources can make or break a business that we've seen. So access to premises and funding, they are big issues, that you've mentioned. So how have you navigated these challenges?
Okay, so now I'm operating from home because this is place that I have, and I have to keep it going. And I'm still getting into different incubators, different venture launches, and trying to pitch. And I think with every pitch, you also kind of like figure out what is it that the funders are looking for. I think I went for 2 pitches recently, and it was a flop because I pitched a wellness business. And I realized that's not what the funders are looking for. They want numbers. It's kind of challenging to measure how many people you have reached in wellness, how many jobs you have created. So I realized that, oh, okay, when you're doing something that is, everybody acknowledges that there is a need. It's needed, but nobody's willing to fund it, because normally in a wellness space, when you start, it's 2, 3 people. So how many jobs have you created? What social impact are you making? Are you looking for a profit or sustainability? And with the community that I'm saving, it's either I put food on the table or there's nothing. So if I've got 100 rands, how can I go and pay for therapy when there is no food in the house? So it's important to get food. So I'm looking for funding that can sponsor the wellness business so that I can reach to more communities where it's needed the most. And I'm also trying to find people who have got premises that I can partner with. Like I mentioned earlier, that I'm working on my new product that I'm still experimenting what's gonna work, what's gonna not work. So I'm looking for somebody that has got at least even if it's not a big, not a laboratory, because there are other people that are also doing products, but they've got, places that are set up. The place is sanitized. It has got all the other equipment that you need for packaging and making sure that the product is not contaminated. Because when you're going to be working with products, you really need to make sure that the end product it's perfect. So I'm looking into those collaborations to see, okay, who has what around Cape Town that would be able to assist when I launch. Then obviously it's another long road to have it, have the barcode, have it registered and all that. And also registering with the Toiletry and Cosmetic Association, because with product there are also certain guidelines that you need to follow when you do your package. So sometimes I also get your pain where I don't know what to do. Like, okay, I'm here. I don't know where to go. And that's the reality, because it's not always, I do not always have the answers. And it's frustrating. So I get stuck, but I always believe that there will be a way out. And I think also when there is funding, I'll be able to pay for the premises that I want, you know. So I think also the bigger issue is funding and having the money and having the right team to drive it with you, to share the vision.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I understand when you say we don't have the answers. We never do, right? But we have the desire to find the answers because we have a goal to meet, right? And I've always found that when I'm researching something, I'm learning more on the journey to finding the answer than actually finding the answer. Do you find the same?
Yeah, yes, because there will be something that comes up.
Mm.
It will obviously not be like how that person is done, but there will be something that will be like on the back of your mind, explore this, look at this. And I think it's also a matter of what do you have to lose when you try, If you don't try, I think it's going to happen. But what do you have to lose when you try? And I think you really touched on a really important thing, research. Because sometimes you also get lazy to research. I think when I started the business, it was just a business. I didn't put into consideration the compliance that comes with running the business. The growth plan you mentioned, how am I gonna grow the business? What's the plan to grow the? It's like, oh, I'm gonna start a business, I'm gonna be selling. Okay, when are you making profit? Are you making profits? Are you running a business at a loss? Because at some point I was running it at a loss. And I didn't even realize that I'm running the business at a loss. It's only when I attended one session, it was like, you need to know. I started, tracking, because you will see money coming. It's there, you're making sales, but are you making profits? So I think it's very important to research, and it's also important to ask when you don't know. It's okay also when people say no, because information is expensive. Sometimes it's not easy to get it when people do not know it and you cannot afford to buy it. People would say, no, it's okay, and you don't need to hold that against people for saying no because they're expecting payment. Information is expensive. Ideas are expensive. You just to keep forward. So reading when you get into business, researching is very, very important.
Yes, I agree with you. And I also feel like um, it's important to embrace the mistakes because nobody ever learns anything from not making mistakes. That is where you learn the lessons, right? And sometimes mistakes are actually disguised as opportunities. And which brings me to my next question, like, were there times when mistakes um, actually became a growth opportunity for you?
I think it will go back to, okay, so when I got my funding from WPDI, I was excited. I saw myself making money. I like, oh, God, you're going to be making money. I made reckless decision, went and rented a place that did not support my business. And it said that there was no foot traffic because for a perfume business, you need foot traffic. You need, some people buy on impulse, you know. They see a perfume which is good for business. I make money when somebody walks in and buys. So it's good for business. So I rent because I was excited, rented this
Mhm.
place out, and I ran the business at a loss because there was nobody that was
Mhm.
coming. So what came out of that was sometimes when you get too excited, give yourself time to cool down and think logically, be
Mhm.
practical, um, on what you want to do, and never make hasty decisions because hasty decisions will cost you. Rather take time and have people complain, but make the right decision because at the end of the day, I lost money. You can't recover the money that is
Mhm.
gone. And I think
Yeah.
that's and there is this narrative that, small business they fail in the first 3 years. I think first 3 years of first 5 years of operating, people go bankrupt. So that was one very important lesson. So now I try to be careful with the decisions that I make, and when I plan, I'll write the things down. I'll go back tomorrow and ask myself, is this really what I want to do? What am I hoping? And I ask myself those tough questions. What am I hoping to achieve
Mm.
with this step that I'm taking? Okay, what is the plan B if it doesn't work out? Because I think it's not nice to lose money. You want money coming in, you don't want money going out. You don't want to be losing money. So yeah, I think that was one of the biggest lesson. And again, it goes back to what I mentioned earlier, the importance of having a team. Um, when you do not have a team and you operate a business alone, and if anything happens to you, then there is no business. And if it was a business that you were surviving on, were depending on, then it means if the business was paying you, you don't have rent, you don't have basic needs because the business was sustaining your livelihood. So it is very important um, to have a team and trust with people as well.
Mm. Yeah, I love that perspective. I mean, everything you're saying is really just reminding us that even missteps can teach us something valuable, right?
Mhm.
Um, so for women starting out, guidance can always be a game changer for them. Like, what advice would you give women starting out to face similar hurdles in business?
So if your business allows you to, or your business model allows you to operate as a sole proprietor for the first few months, if there is no fund that is coming in, I would advise that you start there because there isn't
Mhm.
too much paperwork. to do there. You can use your own personal business and whatnot. But I think also it is also important to weigh who are you doing business with, because sometimes also people do not trust. So I think the first thing is like, who are you doing business with? Are you doing business to, like your normal day-to-day people who do not care? If that is type of your business, then you can start there. You don't have to pay bank charges, those ridiculous bank charges every month, even if there was no transaction. Then as you grow, register your business. I think educate yourself about compliance. Very important, because you don't want us knocking on your door and you'll be paying penalties and you don't know. And also when you go and register businesses using third parties, it is important that you also have your information, know what is happening, because other people, they fail to pay their annual returns, they fail to do their income tax because they do not have the details. Then later on, 3 years down the line, you are owing SARS and you don't know how that happened. And if you don't know how to do it, find somebody that is trustworthy to do it for you, to make sure that you comply, and never give up. Keep on trying and keep on knocking doors. One door, even if it's closed, but there's a door that is gonna open right to people, for what you want. Approach the companies, write to them, email them, call respond, call them. I remember when I was doing my yoga, I did my yoga training on a scholarship. It was very expensive to do yoga. And I saw the scholarship. I went and searched online. Like, okay, yoga scholarship is something that I've been wanting to do like for years.
Right.
The studio camp popped out. Okay, there was a yoga scholarship. I sent an email. They didn't respond. Send another email. They didn't respond. I sent another email. They responded and they said, no, let's talk in January. I said, okay. In January, I see, okay, nothing is going on. I sent another email. Okay, I'm responding to that conversation. I'm following up on that conversation. No response. I sent another email. I was called for an interview. But I'm like, no, I don't need to make any decisions. I know what I want. We are giving you a chance. I know what I want. I've made a decision already. Yes, I'll complete all the protocol, everything that you want me to do, but I've made my decision. So you keep on knocking and be authentic about who you are. People will trust you, people will believe you, and a door will open. And don't be tired. Yeah, when they say no, it's okay. Take it as an opportunity to learn. I went and pitched. It was a no. I came and cried. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna lick my wounds. It's okay. Breathe in. I went and pitched again. I was rejected. It's okay. That is not gonna stop me from trying, because I know what I want, what is my end goal. And it is also important of the importance of also collaboration. If there are other people that are doing things, that you can trust. But in collaboration and partnership, let's not be buddies. Because when you get into business on a buddy level, when things turn sour or if things don't work out, it's a disaster. So make it formal. Let's agree, even if you're friends, put it on paper, fine print, sign, so that tomorrow we have something to refer back on when you are doing business. And lastly, do not be afraid to share your dreams, your ideas. Obviously, you don't need to share everything, because most of our business, they are not imitation businesses. Yes, somewhere, the business is being done. So me sharing it to you, even if somebody says, no, they're gonna steal my business, they're not gonna do it the way I was gonna do it. They can, okay, this looks good, but they don't have the person doesn't have the execution plan that I had in mind.
Yes.
So they can go and do it, but they're not gonna do it like me. So don't be afraid, because you never know who's in the room. Yeah. I think I'm talking too much.
No, not at all. I'm loving it. I'm really making mental notes of everything because it's really such practical advice, Mercy. I mean, if there's key takeaways here, for me it would be perseverance. Do not give up. And number two, ignorance cannot be your excuse every time. Like you've got to go and learn, you've got to cover your ass, legally with documents, etc. And also, don't be afraid. Yeah, excellent advice. I think a lot of people will gain a lot from what you've just said right now. And you
Thank
mentioned
you.
collaboration, which I think is a perfect segue into our next section, which is community impact and collaboration, right?
Mhm.
So, like beyond business, your ventures are about people and communities, right? So let's explore that a little bit because impact is most meaningful when it reaches real people, right? So through your ventures, you aim to empower communities. What does that look like on the ground?
So there is an issue of safety on the ground, which is a reality in Cape Town.
Mhm.
And when you bring people into the space, you also want them to be safe. You don't know what's going to happen, but you just trust, go with your intuition that everything's going to be okay because you don't know who's coming to the space and what their intentions are. But last year when I started doing yoga before I got shot, I partnered with one organization that was providing venue for me to teach yoga. But what I realized was that the model was not sustainable because it was free and it was more financially taxing on my side because I had to
Mhm.
pay for everything, like transport of carrying the mats to the venue and from. So when I got injured, I had to stop because I couldn't teach. And I think after that, I told myself that I'm gonna focus on my recovery. I'll basically go back to teaching yoga next year because it was my 1 year anniversary on the 20th of October of getting
Mhm.
shot. I hope we will not be counting these anniversaries for other people. So with collaboration, I think people loved it. And I had men coming into the space, which was really amazing because I think across different cultures and races, men are often taught to toughen up. You cannot show emotions, you're not a man. You cannot cry because you're not a man. You cannot do this because you're not a man. And I strongly believe it's also another reason we are having high rate of gender-based violence because we are not on the same level. Women and girls are empowered. Then we have men and boys that are disempowered. So we are operating, we are playing on a different playground. So I was very happy that I had men who, who were in the space who enjoyed the
Mhm.
practice. So it really worked well for me. And I saw, how people would come and be appreciative of the practice, how they wanted to do it more. So for now, it will go back that I need to source out funding. And from the community, I understand the dynamics, but at the same time, working on a model that is sustainable. So that's basically maybe pay what you have. And that would be me giving back to the community. If people pay what they have, whatever funds that has been in that for that particular class can go towards transport, carrying mats from one point to another, because not everybody has a mat as well. If people can have a mat in a community where people have their yoga mats, then I can just come and teach, which is more cheaper than hiring mats. And Ubers in the Cape Flats, they don't. or everywhere. The knock goes on, like one of the neighbors that I've been living, Brown's farm, is the knock goes on. No, you don't go there. Everybody knows. But does it mean that the people living in those areas do not need the services? They do need the services. So also looking into collaborating with schools and how to use their halls for in churches, their spaces to do the classes, the awareness, the sharing circles, because that way it will be sustainable, it will be accessible, rather than having people, paying those expensive monies that they do not have. I have the community at heart, and I would love to give back to my community. So that's what I'm looking at. I think venue is the most challenging place and most safe thing that is challenging.
I'm actually loving listening to everything that you're talking about now, and it makes me so sad to know that we're coming up to the last section, which
That's so
yeah,
peak.
I mean, so I really want to know. It's more now about the inspiration and your future vision, right? So even the strongest entrepreneur right now, it needs inspiration to keep going. Like, what keeps you motivated when things get really tough?
Um, it's where I'm coming from and where I wanna go. Like I mentioned earlier, that growing up, I couldn't afford the things that I wanted for myself. And I made a vow to myself that I'm not gonna and it's the same vow I make to my son, that my son is not gonna lick these things. So we are breaking the chain of you have to experience this. Your descendants have to experience this, like your whole lineage. He has to experience the same thing. So I don't want to see my child lacking. I don't want to see other women lacking. I don't want to see other families. You know, I have heard, when you get into spaces, and it's so sad. When you get into spaces and people are whispering, the smelling, the armpits, like all those weird, disrespectful tones. So that's what keeps me going. That I want to see my brand growing. We are scaling now, but I want to see it as a big brand. I want to see my own version, what I've crafted from the beginning. If we can buy the likes of Elizabeth Arden, why can't it be an African child like me? Why not? What's stopping me? You know. So I think that's what keeps me going, and also wanting to give back to my community, because, like I mentioned, that there is no too much support in the wellness. When my business grows, I'm able to take from my business and give back to my community, and that would sustain. Like in this video, there's just too many things that is happening. That would sustain echoes of us, which is because I wanna take that along. I wanna grow with it as the business grows. I wanna grow with echoes of us, which is our community our community initiative. So all those partnerships that I spoke about, that would be falling under Echoes of Us, our community flagship program. And that would not just be yoga, but also dialogues and allowing people to lead in that space. Because I have like a group now of people that we do go hiking, on the 22nd, we're having yoga at the beach, a picnic at the beach. And I allow people to lead. I allow people to make suggestions. Okay, this is what you want to do. Then other people can take over. It's not about me, it's about us and how can we grow all together. So obviously it's growing and making money and give back. And also live a nice life. Who doesn't want to live a nice life sipping a glass of wine of a candlelight dinner?
Yeah, that's really beautiful. I mean, it's really clear that your purpose drives you through every challenge. Um, I'd skip on the wine though. It'd probably be a cup of coffee. No,
It's okay. I'll give you a glass of water or a glass of apple juice.
thank you. Yeah. So, like every business has dreams, right? But like yours are especially inspiring from what you've mentioned. But what is your dream for your businesses like, say, for the next 5 years?
Okay, so oh, job creation, that's
Hmm.
number one. Um, I've also been at a point where, there is no income because I'm not employed. And we all know the high rate of unemployment in South Africa, very high. So it's job creation. So if I can hire 10 people in the next 10 years, that would be great for me. Um, then if I can have at least two stores open, or three, 2 to 3 stores open in the next 5 years, that would work, and that would also be having a space for the holistic business, because now my partner who's doing counseling, talk therapy, it's only online therapy that we can do in the moment.
Oh,
We can't
okay.
help people, and sometimes it's not effective for other people. Other people, they
Hmm.
prefer face to
Sort of
face.
face to face. Hmm.
Yeah. So that would help us to have, that space for clients to come and walk in for the sessions. And yeah, I think that's where I'm at. And just to see how things unfold. But I also see myself, traveling, doing wellness in other provinces, because I
Hmm.
love traveling.
Yeah.
That kind of a girl, they say, oh, okay, we need to pack and go. I'm ready with the bags.
Yeah. That is such an exciting vision, Mercy. I really can't wait to see all of this unfold. I'll definitely be monitoring your progress and your journey. So,
Okay.
finally, words of wisdom are always the perfect takeaway, right? So, if you, Mercy, could leave one piece of advice for women in Africa, like looking to turn their passions into business, what would that piece of advice be?
Um, it would be never let anybody tell you that you're not enough, you are not good enough, you are just perfect the way that you are. Your ideas are valid. You know where you want to be. You know your why. You know your how. Do it. And I'm gonna steal a quote from one of I'd consider a mentor who doesn't know that he's a mentor. He has a slogan just that says just start. So everything just start. Doesn't matter, start. Because there are things you look out there and people are selling and you'll be like, do people really buy this? But people are buying it. So start. Yeah, I think there's one brand. If we have seen, I don't know if you have seen it on the social media, there is these check bags that we use to put clothes, you buy them in pep. And there is this one big brand that have redesigned that and selling for thousands. And they're like, we buy these things in our local store for 35 bucks. And so you never know. You have valid, just do. Some of the things also you figure them out as you go along. You don't need to know everything. As you go along, the puzzle will start to connect and you figure it out. Yeah.
Perfect way to close. I mean, that's such a strong message to take away. Thank you so much for sharing your time and your wisdom with us today. It has been an absolute pleasure having you here. I mean, thank you for sharing your journey, your insights, and your inspiration with us. It's truly uplifting. Like, we're so grateful for your time and everything you do to empower women and communities across South Africa.
Thank you so much. I'll look back at this video one of the good days and I'm like, 5 years ago, do you remember? This
And
is
that'll be
where I
amazing.
was. This is where I'm at. That would be so great.
It's amazing. You know, I have a philosophy that I really try to stick by. It's every 6 months, I cannot be in the same position that I was the previous 6 months ago. Like from now, 6 months from now, I have to be in a better position, a different position. I've got to make strides and move forward. I cannot be staying stagnant. And I love that idea. Having a video to see your progress. That's actually an excellent idea.
Yeah. So thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. The time that it took for us to have this conversation. I'm also looking forward to watch other conversations that we're going to have with other women. There is always a takeaway in everything. I think at my point, I will say my truth is based on what I know now. So where I find myself, I'd like to believe there is something to learn, there is something to take away. And the question is, what is it you're supposed to learn and observe and take that you're supposed to learn? So.
Absolutely. Once again, thank you so much for your time, Mercy. We will definitely be keeping in touch and we're going to be watching your progress over the years. And I really do hope to have you back again. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. Bye.